Hey folks, welcome to verifiedinvesting.com. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here. Now in today's video, we have to dive into the price action on Bitcoin. I want to look at what the key levels are, the trade setups, and the forecast in the coming weeks for the biggest crypto by market cap. All right, so let's dive right in here. Taking a look, Bitcoin having a down day today after two nice up days. Now, the key here is this. The other day, I talked about a head and shoulders pattern that had broken the neckline. That has failed. So that, again, was a bearish pattern. It closed below, and now it recaptured. So that is now off the table. Now, if you know the confirmation signal, it never confirmed the breakdown. But again, I always walk this fine line of looking at what I use as a technician and what the textbook trigger is on a head and shoulders. And what I mean by that is that essentially when you look at a textbook, this close was a trigger. It triggered the head and shoulders. For those of you that may be newer here and you don't see the head and shoulders here, this was what it was right here, right? So here's your head and shoulder level right there. There's your right shoulder, and there's your trigger. And any close below the neckline is technically via a textbook of head and shoulders. That is a trigger. But for me, I generally err on the side of caution, and I've created what's called the confirmation signal, which is a close below with a subsequent close below that low. And in this case, you can see we never closed below this candle here. Therefore, it never confirmed. And by the way, after 2+ decades study, what I came up with in terms of the confirmation signal is that when a chart breaks above a level or below a level, meaning a breakout or a breakdown, and it does not confirm, there's only about a 55% chance that it is a real breakout or breakdown. Once you confirm, the odds dramatically increase to about 75 to 80% that it is a real breakout or breakdown. So again, listen, if you go to textbooks, you're going to see the close below is the trigger. Oftentimes you can get whipped out. And in this case, that was exactly what happened, right? I mean, it closed below. We talked about this being the textbook trigger of a head and shoulders, and then it went right back up. Now, let's take away that trend line. So that trend line is invalidated at this point. Let's look at our other big levels. So the first thing I'm seeing in the near term, notice how price high, slightly higher high, lower low. So low, lower low, lower high, but now higher high right from here, right? So what's going on here? Well, essentially what we're doing is we're creating the beginnings of a parallel channel, and I'm going to show you this. This is pretty cool stuff. So what we're doing is we connect this high to this high with our parallel tool and bring it to this low, and then we extend it out. And if we extend it out, look at this. Look at this, guys. Very cool. Essentially what we get is you have this beautiful parallel, the low here, and here. And then if we flip it around, what do we get? We get our high and our high. What does this tell us? Where is resistance going to be on Bitcoin? And the answer should be resistance should be on Bitcoin right here. All right, basically around 115,500. Needless to say, this is in a descending trend line, so it's going to inch down little by little. But right now, this would be your level to beat on the chart of Bitcoin. In other words, if you are a bull, you need to see 115,000 be broken above. If that can happen and you confirm, then you're on your way back to all-time highs, I would say, with a pretty high probability factor. Now, as long as you're inside of this, technically we could fall all the way back to the low end, which would be 100,000. Okay. Now, there is one other thing I want us monitoring, folks. So we have our downsloping parallel, right? Very clear, very crisp, very easy to follow. That's at 115,500, currently inching lower a little bit every single day. But remember a couple weeks ago where I called this near-term top and said there's going to be a key level here at 118,000. If we can't break above it, then you've got to be concerned about Bitcoin. And sure enough, we fell off a mini cliff here before this recovery. That trend line came from 2017. And if we go back to the bull market high in 2017 and we connect it through the highs of 2021, it connects right to these highs in 2024, 2025, and we continue to extend it out, that goes right into this level. So as a bull, all right, and you guys know mid to long term, I'm a huge bull on Bitcoin, but basically what we have to monitor now is this trend line here. So we have two trend lines that as a bull we need to break through. The first one is 115,500 approximately. The second one is about 118,100 to 200. And the reason is because this one here, in fact, I'm going to change the color on it. Let's bring it to orange because it needs to stand out. This one, again, goes through the highs of 2024, 2025, goes to the 2021 bull market highs, and it starts in 2017. And so for me, and I showed you guys this a while back, when we break above here and you confirm, look at this, closed above, confirmed, made a new all-time high. Came back in, hit it, pierced it, hit it again, broke below and got below and actually confirmed below. Then it comes back up, closed above, didn't confirm, confirmed, new all-time high. And so suffice it to say is that what we very clearly say, and you can see rejected here and here, got rejected, rejected. If we can break number one through this 115,500 level, and then if we can confirm above 118,000, I even think this goes to 30, 35, even maybe 150,000. So it's really really the level here. There's this approximately $3,000 zone on this chart of Bitcoin. You have to break through this. This is massive, massive, massive resistance. And what we saw here is when we confirmed above this orange line, we made a new all-time high. Here we didn't confirm, here we confirmed, new all-time high. And so the idea is that not only do we need to break through this downsloping trend line here of this channel, but if we can, and we can test 118,100 to 200 and confirm above that, we should, in theory, here made a new all-time high, here all-time high, we should make a new all-time high there as well. So really interesting. So near term, we're following this downsloping parallel. But if, again, you're looking for new all-time highs, we got to clear 118,000 and change and confirm above that level. That should be really key here, folks. This trend line is an incredible trend line on the chart. Monitor it very closely. Let's talk about downside here. It's always good to look at both sides. So again, if we come down, minor support here at 108,000 and change right here. This was that recent low we just hit a few days ago. Additional support around 107,000. And then if that breaks the low end of the parallel, interestingly enough, look at this, guys. What's right at the low end of this parallel, right? We can draw a line right through here. I would say this area, right? So you're really looking at this as being major. Right around 100,000 is a big level. That could be a very good bounce level. And believe it or not, and this is a good thing for the bulls as well, is that as long as, even if we go down to 100,000 or pierce 100,000, as long as we stay within that parallel, that's a bullish parallel, meaning that in the scheme of things, it's approximately a 45-degree angle. And as long as you're staying inside of here, even if you come down here, we could head up and break to the upside. So let's monitor this very closely and see where things go here. But in the near term, markets, again, have to fight through this zone if you want to see that new all-time high. Got to break here, break and confirm, boom, to new all-time highs. All right, guys. So again, a little bit of an update on the Bitcoin latest technical analysis. And remember, technical analysis is like a live being, meaning that it's always changing. It's always morphing. There's always new information. Think about it like this, is that you are doing a puzzle of candlesticks, right? I look at candlestick charts, and every time you get a new piece of the puzzle, meaning a daily candle, it could potentially change what you think the picture is on the puzzle, right? It could have been a cat yesterday. Maybe now we're like, wait, maybe that's a dog, right? We got a new piece. The idea is technical analysis is fluid. It is always adjusting. And you always have to be willing to say, okay, well, this failed. This was bearish. Now this needs to be taken out. If we can take this out, we can hit new all-time highs. But again, if it fails and falls, where is our support level to buy? Know all the angles. Be like one of those versatile players that can play any position in a game. You want to be able to be defense, offense, neutral, whatever it may be. You want to be able to be that. You will be then one of the best investors in the world. All right, you guys have a great one as always. Thanks so much for coming out and watching this video. Come check us out at verifiedinvesting.com.